Greetings on this March 2025, and I would like to present my new build. This is a French frame here. First of all, it's like a True X. The purpose of this build is for use in bando bashing. None of my other builds have really been built in mind to take hits and to keep on rolling. This is built by a French company. This frame has very thick arms, as you can see here, 6mm arms. Furthermore, this has a O3 air unit in it, and it has a TPU mount camera cage as well. One of the things that I'm looking to do is to replace this TPU with a better one. This is not really well printed out. But other than that, this does appear to be a very stout frame. I do like the securements here. It applies a lot of locking force down on the arms and the plates. I went ahead and used these cap screws here, which applies more force. Here we have our Crossfire Nano here, and an antenna along here. Here is the ESCs. Feast your eyes on those soldering joints. You are welcome to look at them. Nice and shiny, that is how we like them. And this is the same with the power. Now I did have to switch the flight controller and ESC 180 degrees because, as you can see here, there is clearly no room for the power connectors to solder here, much less the capacitor. So I went ahead and switched them around and installed here a plug, so it will be easy to plug and unplug. The plate that came with it did not have the cutout for it, so I cut out one for here so that when it goes on top here, it will simply be able to plug in here. The only disadvantage of the setup I could see is that when something comes and hit it, it will hit the plug before hitting the battery. But with this setup, there doesn't appear to be any choice to it. We are using Criss Rosser's motors here. The Supernova 2207 by 1980 kV motors. Simply beautiful motors. We have installed the antenna back here by simply zip tying it for now until we are able to either do a 3D print or whatever. I did need to replace these standoffs because these standoffs, which are nice and beefy as you can see, used to be up here. Another set used to be up here, but I had to replace it with a smaller, demure one in order for the O3 to fit in. There is no other way for it to move to have room between the two standoffs. I also installed a riser plate, and the advantage of that is that we're able to run our cable in the back underneath the O3 air unit, and then underneath the ESC, and then up to the front here. I did have to use a longer one. That's why you see extra cable here. Also, the camera cable is running underneath the ESC and going up here to the camera. The reason why I run it this way is so that it doesn't run between the ESC and the flight controller. As you can see there, I always want to make sure that nothing is running between it, thus isolating the ESC as much as possible. With all my builds, that is always the goal, is to isolate the ESC, therefore by potential vibrations, from the rest of the quad as much as I possibly can. This includes, my favorite method is putting a nut below the ESC right here, a plastic nut, and then a plastic nut above it to isolate the ESC with a frame, and then go ahead and install, and then going ahead and installing that plastic nut on top. If the room allowed, I would put a locking nut up here, but this will work. All in an effort to isolate the ESC from the rest of the frame. Thus, your tuning will be more precise. The reason why I isolate the flight controller as much as possible is so that there was less vibrations as much as possible going to the to the flight controller. This will mean less filtering is required, and therefore your overall flight experience will be better. Because the more filters you have, the more latency one can experience. It is desired to have the least filtering required, only that which is absolutely needed. Here is where I got the frame. This is the name of the frame. And this is where I got it from, One Drone. I will put the link in the description below. I will put the specs and all that in the description below.